Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning. Hello everyone.
My name is Nadzhi Fatasyakira.
My name is Mila Apriani Rohali.
My name is Diani Ramadani.
We are from group 3.
On this session, we want to complete an assignment from the English subject, namely making a podcast. The theme of the podcast we are taking is the theme of horror stories. We present the result of our work.
Happy watching and enjoy everyone.
Hello everyone! Welcome to Guess the Horror Story, a podcast that will take you to the dark side rarely revealed from life in Islamic boarding school. Tonight, we'll talk about horror stories that happen in Islamic boarding school. Stories passed down by word of mouth but remain alive in memory, especially for the alumni. I'm Acha, and of course I'm not here alone. Tonight, I'm joined by two of my friends who are also witnesses of these stories, Mila and Diani. Welcome, Mila and Diani. How are you?
I'm good.
How are you?
I'm good.
Hi. Oh my, I'm so excited to be here, but honestly, I've already been feeling such earlier.
Exactly. Thinking about the store again and sharing them this creepy but okay. Let's sharing this experience.
Alright, let's get started. But I'm really curious about Mila's story you teased me about earlier. You said you experienced something strange and scary in the Islamic boarding schools, didn't you?
That's right, Acha. It happened when I was in Islamic boarding school. In my Islamic boarding school, there was an old bedroom in the corner of the building. My seniors told me never use that bedroom, especially alone at night. But back then, I didn't believe it.
And what happened?
One night, there was a gathering in the prayer hall. I really need to use the bathroom, so I rushed to go alone without thinking much. I wasn't sure of anything at the moment. I just ran. When I got there, all the bedrooms there were closed. I thought they were occupied. Then I showed the bedroom door in the corner. It was open and empty. At first, I hesitated because I remembered the rumors. So I decided to wait for another door to open. But after a while, no one came on, and I could barely hold it anymore. So, without thinking further, I ran to the corner bedroom. At first, everything seemed normal. After I finished, I was my face, and that's when I heard a knock on the door from outside. When I checked, there was no one, and all the bedroom doors that were purposely were now wide open. I thought maybe everyone had finished and left. So, I went back into the bedroom to continue raising my face. But as I was about to leave, the bedroom light suddenly turned off.
Oh my god. So what happened, Mila?
I tried to stay calm and slowly opened the door. But then I heard a woman lagging behind me.
Did you see anything or anyone at that moment?
No, even though I was panicking. I tried to stay calm and didn't dare to look back. I just quickly recited prayers in my heart. and not long after, the light suddenly turned back on. I mustered the courage to look back, and on the wall near the mirror, there was a wet handprint. I ran out immediately, praying non-stop.
That's so creepy if it were me. I would have been crying and panicking.
Luckily, you're now okay, Mila. After that incident, did you tell your friends?
Yes, the next day I told that to my friends.
The reaction must have been hysterical.
Yes, of course. It even became a topic of conversation at an Islamic boarding school until finally the building was closed.
Alright, now Diani, what about your story? I heard you have a story about the prayer hall in your Islamic boarding school. What happened?
Yes, this was my experience when I was in my second year in my pesantren. The prayer house was always crowded during congregational prayer, and usually people really pray tahajjud there. But there was incident that really traumatized me. That night, I woke up at 2:30 in the morning to pray tahajjud. I thought there were other people because I heard the sound of someone praying and reciting Quran inside the prayer house. So assumed other were also praying tahajjud there.
So you weren't alone, right?
That's what I thought at first, but when I entered the prayer house was empty. No one was there. Even the lights were only on in curtain part. But earlier, I clearly heard the sound of prayer and Quran recitation. What even stranger, the prayer makes it from row and neatly arranged, even though they usually roll off after the Isha prayer, so it would not be too deep, and I started praying. But during the second prostration, I felt someone was standing behind me. It felt like they were joining as I followers, but there were no footsteps or shadow. Then as I stood up to continue, someone tapped me on the shoulder from behind.
Huh? Did you see anyone?
Not at all. I just tried to focus on my prayer and not let it disrupt me, even though I felt weird and scared.
You didn't run or stop praying and be terrified.
Not yet. Until I heard the sound of the wudu tap turning on by itself, even though no one was there.
That's so scary.
Yes,
There's another experience I'll never forget. At the time, I was still a new student, about 5 years ago. That night, like usual, after the Isha prayer, we had to study in the main room. But strangely, that night, there was a very different atmosphere.
Oh yes, I remember that incident. It is me about Iran. The room was indeed known for strange things happening. We had heard odd noises from the ceiling, like things falling or footsteps that were clearly here, even though no one was there.
Exactly, but that night, I saw something very clearly. From the window, I saw a white shadow floating above the ground. It looked like there was a figure moving slowly, and I saw it from a close distance. I wanted to tell my friends, but they couldn't see it. When I tried to get closer, the figure suddenly disappeared.
That's really creepy. That white shadow must have scared you all. But hearing your stories, I'm reminded of my own chilling experience. Although it wasn't in a center setting. One night I woke up in the middle of the night and I felt like someone was watching me. When I opened my eyes, I saw a woman in a white hijab standing in the corner of the room. She wasn't moving, just standing still. But strangely, even though I stared at her for a long time, her face was never clear.
That's such a terrifying experience, Acha.
People say when you experience something like that, it's called sleep paralysis.
Yeah, Yeah, I'd heard that too.
But have you guys ever heard about the viral horror story about a student named Haris? It's really scary.
I haven't heard of it. Tell me the story.
The story takes place in an Islamic boarding school that has existed for decades. The school is known for its strict discipline, but it's also infamous for the many eerie stories that circulate among the students. One day, a new student named Haris arrived. He was diligent, quiet, and always spent his time in the prayer hall after the Isha prayer. Every night, he recited the Quran alone in the corner of the mosque, sometimes even until midnight. Some students warned him not to stay up late by himself, but he just smiled and said, "I'm not here alone."
That's the scary part. Whenever someone says I'm not alone, it usually means there's something else around them. This is going to be terrifying.
Yes, everything seemed normal until one morning. Haris suddenly disappeared. The other students were confused because no one saw him leave. When the teachers and school administrators tried to contact his family, they received shocking news. Haris had already gone home the morning before. His parents had picked him up themselves.
Why? Then who was the Haris that had been staying at the school all this time?
That's when things started to get really strange. After the news spread, students began feeling uneasy. Some swore they had seen Haris in their dormitory that night, sitting in the corner of the room with his head down. But what was even scarier was that whenever they called his name, he didn't respond. When Korea student decided to approach Haris, he gently touched his shoulder and asked, "Haris, are you okay?" At that moment, Haris slowly turned his head, but his face was blank, his eyes were completely black, and his lips were moving as if he were reciting something, yet no sound came out.
Oh no, that's terrifying.
He fainted on the spot. The next morning, he had a high fever and kept muttering Haris' name in his sleep. After that incident, the atmosphere in the school changed. It became more eerie, and several students started experiencing strange occurrences. Every night, footsteps could be heard echoing in the dormitory, but whenever someone checked, there was no one there. Even more terrifying, some students who stayed up late report seeing a shadow walking outside in their window, a shadow that looked exactly like Haris. The most terrifying event happened on a Friday night, as all the students were asleep. A knocking sound suddenly echoed at the dormitory window. At first, it was soft, but it grew louder and more urgent, as if someone was trying to get in. One student, unable to contain his curiosity, peeked through the curtain, and what he saw nearly made him scream. Outside the window, Haris was standing there, but something was off. His face was pale. His eyes were empty, and his lips were still moving silently, as if reciting a prayer no one could hear. The student immediately ran to the teacher's room and told them everything. That same night, the teachers and senior students held a group prayer. They recited Yasin and did dhikr loudly, hoping to drive away whatever was haunting the school. And as they reached the final verse, a long, piercing scream echoed outside the dormitory, followed by the sound of footsteps running away, then silence. Since that night, Haris' figure was never seen again. But one mystery remains: every Friday night, students who stay up late claim they can still hear a faint voice reciting the Quran in the prayer hall, even though no one is there. Has Haris really left, or is he still there? We never know.
If the voice is still there, then he has totally left.
Maybe he's still praying there, and we just can't see him. The story proves one thing: there's a world we can see, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Anyone who has ever stayed in a boarding school knows there are unwritten rules that must be followed. Never pray alone late at night. Don't mess around with supernatural things. And most importantly, never forget to pray. So, for those you are currently living in a boarding school or have experienced something eerie before, be careful. You might not be alone. From your stories, do you have an explanation for these events?
From my story, some of the students say it's one of the spirit that guard the pesantren. Some say it's the spirit of late Kiai. And sometimes he comes to give us guidance or warnings, but others believe it's so supernatural being that stays at the pesantren.
Yes, every time something happens, the pesantren management always remind us not to be afraid because it fight of the spiritual takes the pesantren sometimes certain spring and closer to get.
That's really interesting. It turns out her experience at the pesantren aren't just scary stories. At the pesantren aren't just scary stories, but also reminders of faith. From your stories, it's clear that pesantren has a strong spiritual energy. Why do you think these things happen so often?
I think because the pesantren is a scared place, but there are some areas that aren't often used. Maybe this place become a home from them.
Exactly. Also, the rules and warning have a reason behind them. I believe they're meant to protect us. Even in places of worship, supernatural beings can try to disturb humans, especially during prayers. The lesson here is to always respect places and maintain good manners, especially in sacred areas. Don't forget to pray for protection. From your stories, it's clear Islamic boarding schools have strong spiritual energy. Mila, Diani, why do you think these things happen so?
Because Islamic boarding school is a scared place of worship, but there are certain areas rarely used by people. So maybe other banks feel like it's their territory.
Yeah, exactly. Also, in Islamic boarding school, we often hear about specific rule or warning. I think they are to protect us from destructive. After all, even the place of worship, spirit can try to distract human, especially during worship.
That's true. I totally agree.
From Mila and Diani's stories, the lesson we can take is always to respect places and maintain proper manners, especially in sacred places like Islamic boarding school. Don't forget to pray for protection.
Absolutely, and remember, if we ever feel afraid, always keep in mind that God is greater than our fear.
I couldn't agree more.
That's so true. But wow, we've reached the end of the show already. Alright everyone, I think that's it for this episode of Guess the Horror Story tonight. If you have any interesting horror stories you'd like to share with me and everyone else, feel free to send them to the email below. Thank you Mila and Diani for taking the time to come here and share your story. I'm really happy you come here.
Same with Acha. I'm also very happy to able to come here. Next time, I can share another story here with a different segment, okay?
Of course, yes. See you in the next episode, everyone. And remember, never forget to always pray for protection. See you!